Couple of big ones this week after Creighton, why do I keep saying Iowa? Nebraska got one. Creighton lost to Marquette. Nebraska lost to Iowa. There we go. That's the right time to say it. And the Huskers are going to go to Mackey and play number 20 Purdue on Sunday. But first, Creighton is also going to be an hour down the road.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, on Saturday, and for a noon local, 11 a.m. Omaha time, noon Indy, a little bit of breakfast ball, as Dylan said. Yeah. Shout out Dylan. So for a little bit of breakfast ball in Hinkle against Butler, two teams that really need one for two entirely different reasons. If Creighton wants to have a legitimate tournament resume, the Jays cannot lose to a team like Butler.
No.
And you ask, what do you mean a team like Butler? And I say, this is how Butler needs a win.
Yeah.
The Dogs started 7-1, and they have lost 8 straight. And they initially had good losses. Like it wasn't too alarming. Like
they had one like really bad mid-major loss.
Yeah, they had Austin P.
That's
is that
P? Yeah.
68-66. That's a really bad loss. But like they beat SMU. They took care of the rest of their mid-majors. Beat Northwestern. Beat Mississippi State by 10. And then this all started when they were demolished by Houston. Then lost to North Dakota State, then Wisconsin, and then their first 5 games of Big East play. It's just been a tailspin over the last month or so. And so Butler badly, egregiously, horrendously needs a win. Yeah. Whatever adjective you want to throw in there, Butler needs one. Just to, I don't even know. I don't want to say have life because their tournament shot is cooked.
And to feel good, you know,
to be able to make it through the last 2 months of the regular season.
To have something to look back on this season. And it's crazy because that was a team that, like, they were on the bubble for most of last year. That was last year was Thad Matta's got this team ahead of schedule. Yeah. I still think Thad Matta's a very good coach.
Big Thad Matta guy.
Yeah, I am a big Thad Matta guy. I think he's good at his job. I thought he got kind of screwed over at Ohio State.
Sure.
But yeah, I think
maybe Caitlin Clark will be in the building.
Yeah.
In Hinkle.
Yeah.
Always a chance, I guess.
Yeah, there's always a chance. That entire I'm gonna call it the Clark McCaffrey Mafia is
okay.
Is
the
seems
McClarkley Mafia.
Yeah. I don't know that I liked that.
No. It wasn't good.
Yeah, is filtering its way over to Indianapolis. It's cool. I made a note after the game on two nights ago, just going onto the court because I wanted to see the 22, because they've got that on the court now, like from her spot. Cool. That was kind of cool. But yeah.
That's cool. And then Creighton just has to have it.
Yeah.
Creighton cannot, grave mistake if, for a team that's currently on the bubble, if you lose to Seton Hall, DePaul, or Butler, you'll get 6 chances against them, and if you lose any of them, it's not good. It is a big blemish on the resume.
Yeah.
Because those teams, again, 7-9 after a 7-1 start for Butler. Seton Hall won a battle of the bad in the Big East. They beat DePaul in a game where DePaul looked like DePaul.
Has DePaul won a Big East game yet this year?
They have not. That was their chance.
18 last year, right?
Yep. That was their chance. So
speaking of former Ohio State coaches.
Yeah.
Chris Holtman.
Yeah. Welcome to the Big East.
Yeah.
Former Ohio State coaches.
Yeah.
So Creighton has to have it. They have not lost in Hinkle since 2022. So they've won 2 straight and kind of pulled the rabbit out of Hinkle's hat, if you will. No Hinkle magic there. And they have to do the same. They just do. And Greg McDermott didn't really shy away from that. Ryan Kalkbrenner certainly didn't shy away from that. I asked Kalk, how big it would be for Creighton to bounce back against Butler since after the loss to Marquette, and he said it's huge. Like every game, our margin for error this year is a lot thinner. And then here's the important part: we've got to attack every day. Like if we win, we can make the tournament. If we lose, we're not in. And I think sometimes Creighton loves to, play the one game at a time. Most programs do, obviously. But that right there, from Ryan Kalkbrenner of all people, kind of feels like that needed sense of urgency. It really does. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, it's okay for this team to say, hey, sure, we can take it one game at a time, but if we lose this game, we're putting ourselves in a hole. So we have to win it. And so that urgency is going to be huge for the Jays coming down the stretch. Just like it will be for Nebraska.
That's right.
Trudging through the Big Ten, the big bad Big Ten. Even though the Huskers are in a lot better spot right now than Creighton is. But it's still, it's only the beginning of the second week of January. A lot can change, especially if you let it go off the rails. I don't think Nebraska is going to, but that's kind of where that sense of urgency comes in.
Yeah.
Hey, we can't let it go off the rails. Yeah. So that'll start at Purdue.
Yeah,
which
that
would
will
be a big one.
It would be a huge one. Fred Hoiberg has not won in Mackey Arena. I believe that's the only Big Ten arena. I mean, not including the West Coast ones.
Year 7,
6.
6.
Yeah, I think that's the only one where he has not. He hasn't won yet. Yeah, it's.
You've been in there.
I have quite a few times.
Is it? What is it about the venue?
It's.
For people who have not been there, myself included.
Well, it was designed by engineers. Purdue is an engineering school, and let me tell you, those engineers know how to design a building that holds sound and gets it right down on top of you on the court. It's the the places that I've covered games on a regular basis, not just been there for a one-off.
Right.
Mackey Arena brings it the most consistently. Like, the single loudest building I've been in was Assembly Hall when they played Purdue, February of 2023.
Okay.
But, Assembly can have it's like a sleepy Wednesday night.
Sure.
Mackey gets up for every single game.
That's
it's
cool.
Just that is just an unpleasant place to play if you're a visiting team. And yeah, it's a huge opportunity for Nebraska. This Purdue team is, I wrote a whole thing 2 weeks ago, kind of a Big Ten notebook, that one of the things was Purdue is not the Purdue of the past 2 years.
Right.
They're still good. They are a great team, but they are not, far. They're not going to win the Big Ten by 4 games like they did the past couple of years. They're in the top tier, but they don't. Without Zach Edey, they're not the one dominant team.
No,
they used to. And then Purdue, after I wrote that, Purdue comes out and just smacks Northwestern. It felt like one of those
they read your story.
Yeah, it felt like it, and because it felt like one of those hey, we're still here. Zach Edey isn't, but Braden Smith is still maybe the best player in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it all leads up to just a big, big opportunity for Nebraska. I know losing to Iowa, that was a missed opportunity. That's one of those, a chance to grab a Big Ten road win against a team that's probably not in the tournament, but still, not a terrible team. Just that would have been a good win, and Nebraska had it in its hands and fumbled it.
Yeah.
Now, if you lose to Purdue, suddenly you're 2-3 in Big Ten play, and that's no one's going to fault you for a loss at Mackey Arena.
Right.
I don't mean it like that, but it's also,
couple it with what happened Tuesday.
Yeah. And suddenly you're on uneven ground. You host Rutgers after that, which you would think is a win, but
right. There's always a chance. Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper
there's
has
a lot
30
of talent there. Yeah. So it would be a lot going in. It would be a get-right game. It would flush the demons of Iowa. It would be a road win. It would be a, tent-pole resume type game if Nebraska could win. And, I think they have a chance, because
sure.
I'm not saying they will win, but I think, if they come out and, bring that physicality.
Defense travels.
Defense travels. If they come out and hit the glass hard and – hit some shots to try to take the crowd out of it early. They can, I could see them, just because this Purdue team, as good as it is beatable. It's really hard to do in Mackey, but it's possible.
Creighton beat them.
Yeah.
It was a charity exhibition 2 months ago, and they still had Pop Isaacs, but Creighton beat them. What I think is really interesting, Wilson, is this will be the first time these two teams have met since Nebraska beat the number one team in the country last year in Lincoln.
Yeah, that was a major turning point in Nebraska's season.
I'm sure Mackey's going to get up for this game. As you said, they do every game. But this game in particular, they're going to want to get their get back after what happened last year in Lincoln. So that'll be an extra wrinkle that maybe people forgot about from last year. Crazy to say. Welcome to 2025.
That was almost exactly a year ago, too, to the day.
So it's going to be a fun weekend of basketball.
Will be.
Super important for both Creighton and Nebraska. Again, I think either way, it's probably more important for Creighton because a loss would be as consequential as a win.
Yeah.
If Nebraska loses at number 20 Purdue,
it's more house money for Nebraska.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You'd love to win it. I'm not saying go on the road with the intention to lose.
Yeah.
But
it's not a black mark on your resume.
No, unless Nebraska loses by 30, which I don't think with their style of basketball they can, if that makes sense. And then they lost at Michigan State by. So maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But
the Big Ten's so weird.
It is. It is.
I think when people are saying that the house is burning down after Nebraska loses to Iowa, it's just it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And everybody loses to everybody in the Big Ten. It happens. If you are a Big Ten basketball team,
you're gonna lose.
You're not gonna beat every team that you're better than, and you're not gonna lose to every team that you're. Did I just get that? No, I.
Yeah, you're not gonna.
You're not gonna lose to.
You're not gonna.
Yes, you're not gonna beat every team.
What
am I doing? You're not gonna beat every team that you're better than, and you're not gonna lose to every team you're worse than. That's just life in the Big Ten.
That's college basketball, really. Yeah. And if this year has not proved that, then I don't know what will. Yeah. You got anything else, Wilson?
I don't think so.
Should be fun. We'll have some. What time's that tip on Sunday?
11 a.m.
So we'll have a couple of breakfast ball games. Wake up, make a pot of coffee on Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your day, no matter what happens in Hinkle, and then do it all again on Sunday and squeeze a few football games in there somewhere. Pretty loaded slate. Yeah. Go Broncos. Sure. I'll root for the Vikings to come out of the NFC.
They don't play until Monday, which is weird to me.
Yeah, it is. So we'll have basketball to pass the time.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for this week's episode of Half Court Press. He's Wilson Moore. I'm Jon Walker. We'll talk to you guys next week.